There we go. That's better. I love it when I have these kinds of issues. Okay, so everybody can probably hear me now. Um, I don't think my mic was working before, so you didn't get any of the nonsense I said before, but that's okay. Welcome to the stream. And we're going to spin to win in a bit. Very soon. We just want to make sure that anybody who did manage to show up for the stream today gets a chance to show up. So I'm penciling today on POND SCUM, which is something I very rarely do live because it's a messy process. But it's what needs to be done today, so I'm working on it. It's been pretty slow going today, unfortunately, but I did get the first splash page done pencil-wise for the second chapter, so pretty happy with that. That's cool. Now kind of moving on to the next things. The challenge that I've kind of given myself in all of the POND SCUM stuff is to do 8-page chapters. So it's as much of a space management exercise as anything else. So I've been really tempted to blow out this page that I'm working out into 2 pages, but I'm trying really, really hard to keep it to a single page, just because this is kind of part of the growth exercise for me working on POND SCUM is to do that. So you're going to see me play around a lot with the size of these panels today. So I think a lot of times when I do stuff like this, I end up making things too big, just because I look at things in like kind of the postage stamp view so frequently that. Oh, thank you, Kaylor. Kaylor says, "Man, that looks good," and I appreciate that. POND SCUM's a cool book. It's it's very kind of experimental for me, because I've never really done anything in the genre like this. But I like the characters, and I like the challenge of kind of like trying new things and working on new stuff, different stuff. So it's been going really well. This page has been a bear though, just because I have I might have stacked too many actions in one place for this one, but we'll do the drawing at 3:15 in 10 minutes, just because stream's probably going to be about an hour long today, and I'm not going to hold it till the end, but I don't want to do it right away because somebody might trickle in. It's kind of always, I love streaming at weird times of day. It's funny, this is like peak evening time for folks in Europe, who I get a fair few of them sometimes. But people in the US with me, less of a convenient time usually, but it works for me. So that's kind of the most important thing for me, unfortunately, is that it works for me. All right, this guy is holding like a rocket launcher, and one of the things that I'm coming up against here is I don't really know what a rocket launcher looks like, and so I'll probably look up a reference at some point. I'm really just kind of get the shape in right now to get like a rough idea of where it's going to be. Sometimes I write these things in the script and I don't bother to think that I don't actually know what something looks like. But I have this kind of like shoulder cannon thing imagined. Less of like an RPG. Yeah, it's like an RPG, which I guess I know what that looks like. And maybe I should put a rocket on it or something. But again, space management kind of the issue here. So the thumbnail was not super duper helpful, as my thumbnails are often very rudimentary, and this one is no different. And I ended up changing a lot of things from it when I started doing the pencil of the page. So, I'll figure it out as I go. One thing I love about this book is that everybody only has 3 fingers. I figure if I'm going to live in a world, I'm going to create a world with with anthro characters or bugs and lizards and whatnot, and anthropomorphize them. I can choose how far I want to go with that, and that was one of the rules I decided early on was 3 fingers, and it makes it much easier to get things done. Because of course, POND SCUM started as me seeing if I could do an 8-page zine in as short time as possible, and the first 8 pages I did in 3 days. So I wanted to make sure the character designs were simple enough that they could be reproduced quickly. Now that we're doing more of a real comic with it, and I'll be going back to kind of the earlier zine pages and doing a little bit more with them as well. And once we get that 3rd chapter funded, the whole thing will be put into a single issue. So I'm going to start thinking in that direction in terms of like what style I want to be, the final look of everything. Treating that first teaser chapter as kind of a rough draft or a pilot more than anything else. I like the way this guy's kind of shaping up. He needs more pouches, though. Should give him a big old pouchy bandolier, or maybe you could have like shells or something in it. And it's kind of rough because I pencil with a sledgehammer, but I want to go in an almost Liefeldian direction with this. This happens to me a lot, and it's not a bad thing. Because like I said, I feel like I'm getting in the... I used to draw things like too large. And now I'm kind of like getting better at space management and shrinking things down. Because you can still... Stuff's going to still look good. I think this guy's still taking up like 1/3 of the page. Even after I shrink him down. So I want to... I want to get as much character in the shot as I can. To show off the design. I got the Rob's attention on Twitter once, talking about feet. And it's one of those things where it's just like I don't really want to. Comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, I can draw feet. It is fascinating. I guess I'm going to talk about this. Liefeld's such a weird guy, and it's like his as a person, I don't really like him very much. I've never met him. Like I said, I had very brief interaction with him on Twitter once that was more funny than anything else. But like I've seen the way he talks about people in the industry, and this I don't know. I don't approve for the most part. But the way that he broke into the business was admirable, in a way that I really appreciate. And essentially, he got rejected a gajillion times, and just kept persistently sending stuff in. He had a tremendous amount of passion for the business, and that version of the Rob is one that I'm always like, yeah, that's really cool. That's a cool guy to be. Never give up. Keep putting your shit out there, even if everybody tells you that you're crap, and just keep going and going until you get what you want. That I like the version of him where anytime anybody says anything derogatory about him, he's like, "Oh, I guess you must have sold a copy of a comic book that sold 5 million copies." He's so up his own butt these days. Uh, it's like, yeah, great work. Everybody in the world loves X Force. They probably do. I have a sealed copy of an X Force comic somewhere. Um, Anyways, I guess I don't like talking bad about people, but Liefeld's one of those people that's just like, he's so inflammatory so much of the time. But yeah, I can draw feet. Sorry, I haven't been watching the chat. Yeah, no, seems like we agree on the subject. Um, I don't. A lot of his stuff is like the Captain America cover that everybody clowns on. Um, it's like, yeah, the anatomy is silly, but like that's one of the most iconic covers in comics. Everybody knows that cover. That's world famous. More people know that cover than know, any kind of mediocre cover. And it's like, is that a good thing or a bad thing to be known for that? But I mean, he's known. Yeah, you can have a cookie for Cable. I've been trying to do more and more, kind of like retro '90s style lately, '90s and early aughts. Um, just because I think that's something that I really appreciate from an aesthetic standpoint, and also that I don't see a whole lot of out there right now. And I don't know. I think there's room for that, right? Very tactical. All right, let's draw some names. Every bad comic. Yeah, no, I know. It's weird. It's something. All right, let's draw a name. And you don't have to be here to win. But Kaylor, I kind of hope it's you because at least you showed up. So let's see. Let's go. Let's spin the wheel. 22 names on the wheel. 22 people helped to bring this comic to life. If you are not here on the VOD and you do win, I will contact you by the email that you contributed to the coffee with, and get you your prize. So you're winning essentially a commission credit that's worth $120. And or rather, a commission credit to get a commission that would normally be priced at $120 with no cash value. So really, what that comes down to these days is kind of a single character with background or like a 2-character comp. Appreciate that, by the way, Taylor. And so we will see what you get, and you get all the details of what it is when I contact you. And we can kind of work out something according to that. But without further ado, I'm going to click to spin, and we're going to see who wins. Here we go. And the winner is... And the winner is Tommy Weeks. Ah, close. Tommy, that's a name that I'm happy to see up there. Tommy's been really supportive of my comics and my art and my stuff for a long time. Member of the coffee page, supported the most recent Kickstarter, buys all the books. So great person to have win. Congratulations, Tommy. I will be in touch very soon. And that will be that for the drawing. So cool. Great. First live drawing. And of course, the reason I did that live is so that nobody can accuse me of picking my mom or something like that. If my mom won, I would have given it to her. But anyways, I like that little spinning wheel thing. And I will be using that in the future because, hey, we are funding POND SCUM Chapter 3. So if you didn't win this time, you got another chance. Like I said, we get those first 3 chapters done. They're going to be put into a single issue. And then we'll figure out how to print that, either through crowdfunding or not. But I would really love to do something not Kickstarter, but we'll see. I want this guy to look really crazy, and we're getting there. He's almost like I wanted to almost be like a Metal Gear villain in terms of. Kayla, I do appreciate you coming out today and hanging out with the pencils and everything, and you are somebody who has been, a very long-term member and a frequent commissioner as well. So, literally, this book would not exist without you. So, the next time you order something, we'll throw in a copy of it because what the hell? Assuming that I have printed copies of it by then, but it's something that's really cool about the coffee and with this in particular is like, because some people can afford to contribute a lot, some people can't. I used to do this where I would say whoever contributed the most in the period would be would win something, but I've made it a little bit more of a socialist endeavor, and now with the random drawing, whether you're somebody who has been one of my longest members and has contributed hundreds of dollars over the past couple of years, or if you're somebody who got the the free preview and tipped me $3, it's like you're in the running to win something. So I'm just I want to, and Kaylor says happy to help. Your art inspires me. Thank you. I'm glad to have people to make it for, honestly. Yeah, if in case anybody is watching the VOD on this, Kaylor has given me a lot of commissions in the past that are based on D&D miniatures that he's painted, and so it's been like a fantastic source of inspiration to go from those miniatures to to commission pieces, and it's been a lot of fun working with Kaylor over so many different commissions. And the most recent one that we did was the I called it the Green Dwarf. You can find that on the coffee page, and I think I must have posted it elsewhere as well. But that one was like, I really cottoned on to something with that one. I really enjoyed the hell out of that one. So a lot of dwarves. Oh, should we just like, yeah, you know what? That stands for Iguana Criminal Enforcement. I would never put a political message in a comic. I don't know anybody who would do that. One of my favorite lines of all time in media is the Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards. I think that's one of the greatest lines ever spoken. There's nothing like a giant belt buckle. He's with the teeth and everything and the rocket launcher. He almost looks a little bit like Nemesis, which is also a bonus. Another one of my favorite dudes. Clarifies he only took a sip of the green water. Yeah. That whole series is golden. This, I'm glad I started working on this guy on the bottom of the page here, because this is honestly kind of bringing the whole thing into perspective for me. I was scratching my head at how I was going to get all of the things I wanted to get on this page in here. And having him on here, because he really is the focal point of the page. So having him on here, and we can give him like an inset. Because his whole thing is that he's firing a rocket that's gonna blow up Buffo. Farewell, Buffo. Yeah, I didn't expect him to die in chapter 2 either, but here we are, and you know, them's the breaks. What a goddamn waste. But I had that. I had it thumbnailed out. Where's my thumbnail? Here's my original thumbnail. So, you know, I had this thumbnailed out, and before I did the dialogue, and I had 2 panels up top, and then I had Buffalo getting blown up, and then I had him kind of sneering at the bottom of the page. But then I did the dialogue, and I'm like, oh, I need to actually have a couple more panels in here. So I needed to figure out, you know, how to squeeze all that in. And this was at the point where I was like, I don't think that. I think I need 2 pages, and I bumped out a new page. But then I'm like, no, I really want to stick to the challenge of like getting everything onto the 2 pages, or onto the 1 page, onto the 8 pages for the whole chapter. So I've been working the past couple hours to get this composition right. The the pencil is like the most time consuming part of the process. But I learned in my creation of the Royal, which the Royal is done now. The Royal is done. Royal number 1 is finished. It's going to be shipping to anybody who backed the campaign, I think, very soon. I've seen the books. John's got them, and I know he's going to have them at shows in August. So I think if you backed that book, it should be in your mailbox very soon. But doing Royal, because we did that on such a tight timeline, I was thinking to myself, oh, maybe I shouldn't thumbnail. I should just pencil right away. And that's a dumb idea, by the way. And I'm glad I changed my mind, because I'm like, no, actually it's more important that I do a thumbnail, because I need to go over it with John, and we need to figure out, make sure everything's working. So I did this thumbnail that looked like absolute crap, and I even did a post about it on Coffee, where I was just like, my thumbnail looks awful, I hate it. But it made the pencil process so much faster and so much easier. And it's like, I cannot believe that I have been sleeping on doing a comprehensive thumbnail for so many years. It really has kind of unlocked something new for me. So, you know, I did the same kind of crappy thumbnail for POND SCUM here. And on the first page, it worked really well. And actually, I'll go back and even show you. And I'll probably do a BTS blog post about this, because I have to do one for the month of July anyways. But the thumbnail for this was incredibly simple. And I don't even know if you can discern what the hell is going on here, but it was just like Buffalo in the front, he's punching 3 guys. Luna in the back, she's kicking 1 guy, buildings. And then that morphed into this. So it's like, it's considerably different, obviously, than what the thumbnail was, but I still, you know, you lay it over I had a little golden ratio thing on there too, but you lay it over there, and the bones are still there. So it's it's important, is what I'm trying to get across. But and I was thinking about this even as I was working on this page and kind of going back and forth about everything that I wanted to do with it, I'm like, if I'm having trouble with the pencil, that means something's wrong with the thumbnail. If you're having trouble with the thumbnail, it means something is wrong with the script. What if you're having trouble at any stage of the process, it means your foundation from the previous step wasn't good enough. So that's something I'm trying to keep in mind as I'm working on this, because I definitely have been having trouble with the pencil. And lo and behold, there was a problem with the thumbnail, and the reason there was a problem with the thumbnail was because there was a problem with the script. So it all comes together eventually. So I'll figure this out sooner or later. I need this guy in the back now that I kind of know what he looks like, because I designed the character on the page. I still do that a lot. That's not exactly best practice, but it is what it is. But now I can do like a little explosion in here. Because the idea is that Buffo is distracted and allows this giant man with a rocket launcher to sneak up on him and blow him up. Will we see the buff frog giving a Mike Haggard spinner lariat? Not precisely, but kinda. He's not gonna do the exact Haggard moveset, but he's got something kind of similar that is in this. And I'll show you the thumbnail. There's the thumbnail. See if you can figure that out. Yeah, if you can figure out what the hell that is, you'll know what's coming. Another thing I'm going to do, and it was another thing I'm going to go back to the original teaser, and I'm probably going to re-ink the whole thing. And I might zhuzh up the pencils a little bit. We'll see. I really like the teaser. I do. But I made it as like a how fast can you rush a comic through production. And it's like I don't want to have to live with that forever. So I will go back and figure things out. Suplexes. No suplexes are in the current written material. But we can add it to the wish list for future action scenes. I'm just realizing that it would actually be. I really want to have a comic at some point where I randomly kill off the main characters in like the first 2 seconds. I actually don't, but I just think it would be funny, like an April Fool's joke. really sure if I like the skull, honestly. It's a little distracting. Gotta work on that onomatopoeia. I like this diagonal slash though. That's great. Maybe making his mouth open a little more. Nah, the gritted teeth is funnier. That's the other thing is that POND SCUM is ostensibly a comedy. I think it's. Oh yeah, that is that's how I'm reading. I'm sorry, I'm behind the chat. That is that's how the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie started that way too, which I thought was pretty funny. They had an actual Suicide Squad, and everybody got killed. It was like, yeah, it's clever. I like James Gunn. I still haven't seen Superman, just because I don't really go watch superhero movies anymore. But okay, this dude's carrying the page now. That's cool. Which means we can turn our attentions back to the top. It's really cool to me because I was kind of banging my head against the wall about what to do for this silhouette up here. But like designing him on the bottom of the page, sure enough, as much as I talked about how important foundational work is, if I had done like a character sheet for this guy earlier, I would already know what his silhouette looked like. I didn't know until like right now, and I draw it out, and he's got the big hips, the big pouches, and he's still kind of like stacked and built like a big tactical guy. Great, perfect, really unique, really. You know what? We'll say this is like a heat-seeking thing because that way I can have him just shooting it off. Well, it can't be heat-seeking. Buffalo's a toad. I'll have to come up with a creative solution for that. Just draw like a real Acme ass rocket here. There's something that I really don't do a ton of that I want to kind of like get better at doing, which is to kind of like pack more panels and stuff into my pages. I'm a big fan of the splash page, and I don't want to get rid of that. I still want to do copious splash pages because I love them, but I want to start working on other areas as well. I want to be good at everything, right? Decided that that's my general goal as a cartoonist is to become undeniable. Guess you guys just croaked. Oh, I'm stealing that for later. Yeah. Uh, we we welcome the frog and bug puns. Um, it's a sting from the first one, and yeah, we'll definitely we'll work that in because this is that kind of book. I think if we can deliver something groan worthy with absolute sincerity, that's something special. Oh, I can do something cool with this. All right, check it. Because I was wondering, like, kind of how am I gonna? Yeah. This is one thing I love about working digital that I could never do if I had to use paper. Paper is being able to move shit around like this. I guess you could cut and paste. Wally Wood did it, but not kind of with the frequency and the speed that I want to be able to. I will see your splash pages are great. So your background's Marukiro comic. Yeah, Marukiro is all about the glamour shots and the splash pages, and that's just every time she hits anybody, it's splash page, and I'm not even ashamed of that. I think it's great. I mean, Marukiro is like there's no rules there. That comic is pure. Like I'm gonna do what I want, when I want, how I want, and nobody's gonna tell me different. And if nothing else, you'll be able to feel how much I love that comic in every single second. Because if there's ever anything I'm doing for Mario Kira, it's just like I don't want to draw this. I don't. Like I just don't. I only draw. It's just the hits. And that's not a good thing to do for like all of your comics. Like you should learn how to do things that you don't want to do so that you can be good at them. Which is something that I'm working on with things like this, and something that I work on when I do, comics like Inheritance and Royal, where I'm working with a writer who has a specific vision, and I have to meet that. But with Marukiru, I'm the boss. I get to do what I want, and what I want to do is big old splash pages. Battletoads mentions. Um, I never actually played Battletoads, but I have seen Battletoads played, and I have played the Battletoads in their appearance in Killer Instinct. Yeah, I'm reading out from the chat here. Kaylor says that I like Mario Kira. You managed sci-fi and swords and sorcery, which is a hard line to tread. I agree. But it's a fun line to tread. Um, you know, I am a fan of the film Krull, and I'm a fan of Gene Wolfe's Solar Cycle, both of which I think are pretty good examples of how to blend those two genres. Gene Wolfe considerably more cerebral than anything that I do, but I just think you should be able to have your laser guns and your swords and your spaceships in one place and figure out a way for that to work. And magic is honestly a great kind of vehicle for that because it demonstrates how you can kind of have a sword and sorcery people who would be able to contend with technology, and they always say any technology is indistinguishable from magic if you don't understand how it operates, or whatever that quote is. Um, but you have it in a very real sense. Like, no, there's magic, and then there's technology. And honestly, you've seen very little technology of Marukiri yet. But it's, the 15 bits are coming, as they say. Um, if you've read, uh, if you're current on Chosen Ones, you've kind of gotten to the techie part where techie things are starting to happen. And of course, the dregs have been there from the start. So I mean, that was kind of a really early indicator of like, hey, those are robots. But all right, now going full bleed on some of this. I didn't go full bleed on a lot of the early POND SCUM because it was intended to be a zine, and I wanted to run it off my home printer, and I can't print full bleed off my home printer. So there's big white gutters on all the pages on the first chapter. I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to change it for the new release. Like I said, I love that teaser, but I'm looking through it, going through. It's like there's a lot that I can do to kind of improve it. Without sacrificing, any of the flow. It really is going to be. I'm going to probably remove the ink layers, sharpen the pencils up, and then redo the inks. And I think that, in a lot of ways, will get where I need to be. All right, let's do a little bit of a little bit more gray on this, and then we'll probably call it a day. I am really happy that I was able to do a pencil on stream, because like I said, it's something I very rarely do, because pencil can be a messy process, and it's something that is difficult to talk over sometimes. And I don't like to be, as little ego as I try to have, I don't like to make a fool of myself too much if I can avoid it. So it's one of those things where it's like I don't really want to have a stream and then a VOD of me like banging my head against the wall trying to get a pencil to work, and just like drawing absolute shit for an hour and a half. That didn't happen today though, so it's like I'm actually kind of pleased with how today went, and maybe I'll do more pencils on the stream in the future. It's funny. There's one of my video series on the channel, and I won't tell you which one. But there's one where I draw something from start to finish, and it was before I was doing streaming. This was all pre-recorded. Like I could have just not published this, I guess, but I chose to. I don't know. Anyways, it's one of those things where I did it start to finish, and it was just like I didn't really like what came out, and it was like, okay, I've got this whole video about me making this, and I don't like how it came out, and it's like now what do I do? So I always want to avoid that. TVH had watched that too. I forgot what I was talking about, so I'm sorry I didn't look at that before. I don't remember what it is you are referring to, but all right. Got to remember which way the light is hitting, because it's important he turns around, and we're using the light to indicate that. So I can't just shadow. Oh, I know what you said you'd watch too. Me acting like me making a fool of myself for 90 minutes. Yeah, no, I'm not saying it wouldn't be entertaining. It's just and maybe it would be helpful to talk through it sometimes, because I do log jam sometimes It's just like, what am I even doing? Like on this page, honestly. Um, oh, Buffo, you lovable fool. Shadows are in front. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I get you. It art streams are so weird, and it's one of the reasons that I usually only do like inks and up, is because at that point the drawing is like at a point where the foundation is set, and it's like I'm just kind of following following the rest of the process, and at a point where I can talk freely and do whatever. Um, I can't even imagine painting a mini on stream. Holy God! Any kind of like, or any kind of physical artwork for that matter. Um, and I know it's like, yeah, you paint over your mistakes, big deal, but it's just it's such a doing it for performance is such a weird thing. At Heroes Con, when I went to that 2 years ago, they had a live art stage. People were doing like big ass paintings live, really impressive. Couldn't be me. I did that mural at the Battle Standard, which is almost done. I'll be sharing some stuff on that soon. I really just have a couple of touches that I need to put on it, and then that'll be finished. But like, I was able to do that, and I was super glad I was able to come in early, like before the store was open, because I did not want an audience for that. Um, yeah, the thing about the mural was like, um, I had never actually done like a painting before. Like I've been digital for years, and when I started drawing, I was pen and paper. Um, but I have been a primarily digital artist for like 10 years, and when I wasn't doing art digitally, I was either just doing pencil and paper, or ink and paper. I never painted anything. So, Jared, who's the owner of the Battle Standard and is a really nice guy and really supportive of me and the stuff that I do, uh, came to me with this idea for this mural, and he's like, you're the resident artist here. I want to offer it to you before I offer it to anybody else. And I was very open with him. I said, I've never done anything like this before. Um, but we kind of we agreed that it was like, okay, he's gonna let me try it out, and I'm gonna pay him back by not stopping until it looks the way he wants it to look. So it's been a process, and um, he's been really communicative, and so have I, and it's like we're getting there on what we want this thing to look like. But I was really surprised at how much of what I do on digital transferred to physical painting, and really the biggest difference is that if you make a mistake, you have to paint over it. You can't hit Control Z. That's kind of the only thing. But all the movements and the motions, and it's just you're just making it big, right? It's just big. Look at this guy. All right. want to say thank you to you, Kaylor, for coming and hanging out during the stream. I am going to, I say this every time I stream, but I mean it this time. I am going to start streaming more. And I think part of my problem in getting established with this in the past is I've tried to do like, oh, we'll do 3 times a week, and I'm going to try to do once a week. And I think that this Tuesday at 3 o'clock might be the time slot. So I will try to be here every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, or I'm going to try to establish a consistent time to do one stream every week. And we're going to be working on whatever we're working on, and hopefully folks will show up, we'll talk, do all that jazz, and get into the habit. And if that goes well, then maybe we'll kind of expand out from there. But you've left us an excellent thought to end the stream on. Kaylor says, I like the process of pushing beyond what we think we can do artistically. And yes, that's how I have done everything in my art journey from the get-go. You have to be willing to try something that you think you can't do in order to find out how you need to change in order to do it. So yeah, it's you can really it's all practice, and it's all just kind of mind-numbing repetition, but you will get there eventually, even if it doesn't feel like it at the start. So thank you everybody for if you're watching the VOD, thank you for contributing to make Pond Scum Chapter 2 happen. Congratulations to Tommy Weeks winning the commission, and congratulations to all of you who contributed to the comic, because you're of course going to get a PDF copy of the comic when it comes out, because that'll be in your members comic bundle, and that's great. Hey, yeah, I mean, push. Yes, have a great day, and don't forget to check out memberships and all that crap. And